Good morning, I'm Abheudaya Shrestha, and these are the headlines of the hour. The government and victims of loan sharks reach a 4-point agreement. The government to furnish a report within 3 months, along with forming a new probe commission as per the deal. Victims cancel their protest. Chairperson of the National Assembly to be elected today. Ruling Alliance candidate Narayan Dahal representing CPN Maoist Center competing against Nepali Congress candidate Yuvraj Sharma. Indian government announces plans to enact a controversial citizenship law which was criticized for being anti-Muslim. The act to allow non-Muslim religious minorities from South Asian nations to seek citizenship. And Nepal thrashed Papua New Guinea by 85 runs to storm into the finals of the Triangular T20 International Series in Hong Kong. Kushal Bhurtel's all-round performance secures an easy win for Nepal. A 4-point agreement was reached last night between the government, victims of loan sharks, and the Struggle Committee. The 42-day-long protest ended after the government's talks team and the representatives of the Struggle team reached the agreement at the presence of Deputy Prime Minister and Home Minister Ravi Lamichhane. As per the agreement, the government will furnish a report within 3 months and form a new probe commission. An agreement was also reached between the government and victims on making necessary arrangements in the upcoming budget for efforts to save the victims from loan sharks. Right after reaching the agreement, Home Minister Lamichhane reached Brikuti Mandap to meet the victims of loan sharks and distributed chocolates. Home Minister Lamichhane then informed the victims that the government is committed in implementing the 4-point agreement. The loan shark victims had started their march for justice on the same day from Jhapa's Kakarvita and Kanchanpur's Mahendranagar from 30th of January earlier this year and reached Kathmandu on 21st of February after an arduous 23-day-long journey on foot. They protested in the capital on a regular basis. After reaching the agreement, the loan shark victims finally ended their 42-day-long protest. Spokesperson of the Struggle Committee, Nirga Nabeen, said that the form of the protest has changed after reaching the agreement. He informed that the work of the probe commission to be formed would be closely followed and said that he would also cooperate. The victims of loan sharks are scheduled to return home from today after ending their protest following the agreement with the government. The victims who are making preparations to return have urged the government to strictly implement the agreement. Coordinator of the loan shark victims and the Struggle Committee, Audesh Kushwa, after today's meeting of the committee, informed that the victims would be returning home from today. He also said that those who fell sick during the protest would receive medical treatment. The victims of loan sharks have warned that they would resort to protest again if the government does not strictly implement the agreement. The upper house of the federal parliament, the National Assembly, will get a new leadership today. The election of the chairperson of the National Assembly is being held today following the 6-year tenure of Chair Ganesh Prasad Timilsena ended on 3rd of March earlier this month. 2 lawmakers registered their candidacy yesterday for the election of the chairperson of the National Assembly scheduled for today. The ruling alliance parties have put forth Narayan Dahal representing CPN Maoist Center as their candidate who will compete against Nepali Congress candidate Yuvraj Sharma. Dahal has the support of CPN UML, CPN Unified Socialist and Janata Samajwadi Party. CPN Maoist Center's Gopi Bahadur Sarki had proposed the candidacy of Dahal, while CPN UML's Devendra Dahal, CPN Unified Socialist Beduram Bhushal and Janata Samajwadi Party's Mohammad Khalid had supported the proposal. Likewise, Nepali Congress's Ananda Prasad Dhungana proposed Sharma's candidacy, while Kiran Babu Shrestha of Nepali Congress and Loktantrik Samajwadi Party's Shekhar Kumar Singh supported the proposal. The election of the chairperson will be held in a short while from now, and its result is scheduled to be turned in at today's meeting of the National Assembly. At the National Assembly, ruling alliance parties CPN Maoist Center has 18 members, including the vice chairperson. CPN UML has 10 members, CPN Unified Socialist has 8, and Janata Samajwadi Party has 3 members. Likewise, opposition Nepali Congress has 16 members, Loktantrik Samajwadi Party and Rashtriya Jana Morcha have 1 member each. The government has sacked governors of 3 provinces within a week since the change in political equation. The meeting of the Council of Ministers held at Singhadabar yesterday decided to relieve the governors of Gandaki, Madhesh and Sudur Pashchim provinces from their post. The cabinet also decided to recommend to appoint Sumitra Bhandari as the governor for Madhesh province, Diliraj Bhatta for Gandaki province, and Nazir Mia for Sudur Pashchim province. Government spokesperson and Minister for Communication and Information Technology, Rekha Sharma, informed that the previous governors were sacked and new governors were recommended for smooth coordination between the federal and provincial governments. Gandaki province governor Prithviman Gurung, Madhesh province governor Harishankar Mishra, and Sudur Pashchim province governor Devraj Joshi were relieved from their post. Sudur Pashchim province governor Joshi was sacked by the federal government while he was administering the oath of office and secrecy to newly appointed ministers. Prior to this, province governors were reshuffled within a month of the formation of the government with Nepali Congress CPN Maoist Center partnership. Meanwhile, the cabinet meeting also decided to transfer secretary at the office of the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers, Ek Naran Aryal, to the Home Ministry. Likewise, secretary at the Home Ministry, Dinesh Bhattrai, has been transferred to the office of the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. National Assembly Deputy Chairperson Urmila Aryal has become the latest example of how patriarchy deprives women from leadership positions. CPN Maoist Center leader Aryal has been serving at the post for 14 months and was by default eligible to hold the post of chairperson once it became vacant. However, the new ruling coalition partners decided to field Narayan Dahal, brother of Prime Minister Pushpakamal Dahal, in the election for the post. The party did not consider her experience at the upper house and her eligibility. Instead, she now has to step down from her current position. The ruling alliance equation has decided to field candidate from CPN Maoist Center for chairperson and one from CPN UML for deputy chairperson. This political move has dented goals of having women in leadership positions. However, this is not the first of such instances. During the then CPN UML-led government, Deputy Speaker Shivamaya Tumbahampe had to give up her position so the ruling alliance could manage political equation. Tumbahampe was qualified in terms of experience and education to contest for the post of Speaker. However, her political aspiration faced a setback due to power conflict within the then Nepal Communist Party. As a result, disputed figure Agni Sapkota was elected as the Speaker. Political parties have established a trend of appointing close aides, especially men, at decisive roles. It may also be recalled that when former King Gyanendra Shah took the throne, Taranath Ranabhat was the Speaker of the House of Representatives and Chitralekha Yadav the Deputy Speaker. After the Second People's Movement and the reinstatement of the Parliament, Subhas Chandra Nemwang was elected the Speaker over Yadav, who had the first-hand experience of the Parliament. Provisions to attain gender equality and proportional representation have been limited to papers as the number of women in leadership position, even within parties, remains dismal. Of the 13 office bearers within Nepali Congress, only one is female. The number is 2 for CPN UML that has 18 members in the Secretariat and 1 among 22 in the case of CPN Maoist Center. It's now time for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Here's the question. Why have political parties not given leadership opportunities to women? Your options are A, patriarchal mindset, B, not knowing capability, and C, lack of reach. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B, or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. The government has aimed at attaining an economic growth of 6% in the ongoing fiscal year. However, low capital expenditure, flow of loans to the private sector, reduction in productivity, and imports have hinted otherwise. Experts have suggested at reviewing tax policies and raising development expenditure. The government also aimed at limiting inflation at 6.5%, which has been supported by the reduction in prices of petroleum products in the international market, along with the prices for edible oil and food. However, the economic growth ambitions seem to be a challenge for the government. The capital expenditure this year has been 4.1% lesser than previous year, which has also affected the loan disbursement in the private sector. Apart from the COVID pandemic years, Nepal has recorded an average economic growth of 4 to 5% in the past 10 years. Last year, the country recorded growth of 2.16%, which experts say would have helped attain the target growth this year. However, the government fell short of making best use of the scenario. Likewise, the central bank had planned at raising loans for the private sector by 11.5%, which so far stands at just 4.1%. As a result, around 600 billion rupees has been sitting idle in banks. Experts say the lack of relevant policies has dented investment goals. In our Public Voice segment, we had asked people in several provinces what's their take on the involvement of young generation in corruption. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
नयाँ पुस्ता पनि भ्रष्टाचारमा संलग्न देखिनुको मेन कारण चाहिँ नेताहरूले बचाइहाल्ने भन्ने प्रवृत्ति पनि भएर हो।
नेताहरूको लैलैम लागेर यस्ता कामहरू भइरहेका छन्। यसलाई निर्मूल गर्नको निम्ति एउटा कानुन बनाउनु पर्छ।
कानुनी दायरामा लिएर आइयो भने मात्र देशलाई चाहिँ केही राहत हुन्छ।
यिनीहरूलाई दण्डित गर्नुपर्छ।
आफ्नो योग्यता अनुसार रोजगारी नपाउनु,
रोजगारको अभाव र युवाहरू छिटो कमाउन खोज्छन्।
देशमा फितलो कानुनको कारणले गर्दा
महत्त्वाकांक्षा बढेपछि उनीहरू एउटा खालको चाहिँ आफूभित्र भएको अथवा आफ्नो कनेक्सनसँग जोडिएको पावर शक्तिलाई दुरुपयोग गरेर भ्रष्टाचारमा बढी मुछिएको पाइएको छ।
पावर र पहुँचकै भर हो, अरु जस्तो लाग्दैन।
मेरो बाउ सत्तामा छ, मलाई कुनै पनि कानुन लाग्दैन भन्ने उनीहरूको परिपाटी हो।
जो पनि आफन्त छ, जो पावरमा छ, शक्तिमा छ, उस शक्तिको दुरुपयोग गरेर भ्रष्टाचार गर्दैछ। उ त्यहाँबाट संरक्षण पाइरहेछ।
शक्तिका बलमै नै धेरै युवाहरू नराम्रो क्रियाकलापतिर अगाडि बढिरहेको छन्।
कानुन सबैको लागि बराबर छ भन्ने जुन एउटा स्लोगन छ, त्यो चाहिँ अहिले जुन शक्तिमा भएका व्यक्तिहरूको लागि चाहिँ त्यो बराबर नभएको जस्तो हामीलाई महसुस भइराखेको छ।
It's time now for the international updates. The Indian government has announced plans to enact a controversial citizenship law that has been criticized for being anti-Muslim. The Citizenship Amendment Act will allow non-Muslim religious minorities from Pakistan, Bangladesh and Afghanistan to seek citizenship. Under the new law, those seeking citizenship will have to prove that they arrived in India from these mentioned countries by December 31, 2014. The Indian authorities say it will help those facing persecution. The Indian government has not given a date for when the law change will come into effect. But to recall, the law that was passed in 2019 had sparked mass protests in which scores of people died and many more were arrested. Rules for it were not drawn up in the wake of the unrest, but have now been, according to the country's Home Affairs Minister Amit Shah, making the announcement yesterday. Shah, writing on social media, said that Prime Minister Narendra Modi had delivered on another commitment and realized the promise of the makers of the Indian Constitution to the Hindus, Sikhs, Buddhists, Jains, Parsis and Christians living in those countries. It amends the 64-year-old Indian citizenship law, which currently prevents illegal migrants from becoming Indian citizens. The implementation of the Citizenship Amendment Act has been one of the key poll promises of Modi's ruling Hindu nationalist Bharatiya Janata Party in the run-up to the general elections. Critics of the Citizenship Amendment Act say it is exclusionary and violates the secular principles enshrined in the Constitution, which prohibits discrimination against citizens on religious grounds. The new law does not cover Tamil refugees from Sri Lanka and Rohingya Muslim refugees from neighboring Myanmar. Some Indians, including those who live close to India's borders, are also worried that implementing the law will lead to an influx of immigrants. Yesterday's announcement has not gone down well with the opposition, who accused the government of trying to influence the upcoming election in April or May. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said yesterday the United States would contribute an additional $100 million to a United Nations-backed multinational security force intended to help Haitian police fight gangs and $33 million in humanitarian aid. This brings the proposed U.S. contribution to the force to $300 million. As of yesterday, less than $11 million had been deposited into the United Nations Dedicated Trust Fund, a spokesperson for the world body said, with no new additions since 3rd of March, when Haiti declared a state of emergency due to the worsening violence from gangs seeking to topple the government. During the talks, the current chairperson of the Caribbean Community Grouping, Guyanese President Mohamed Irfan Ali, said this was a critical point in the history of the Caribbean and highlighted the death toll for Haitians during the recent violence that has claimed more lives than the war in Ukraine. During his intervention, Jamaican Prime Minister Andrew Holness stated the fear of the situation in Haiti worsening to become a civil war is now a real one. Meanwhile, Haitian Prime Minister Ariel Henry has issued his resignation as the Caribbean nation's head of government. The chair of the Caribbean community said yesterday, leaving an unelected role he has held since the 2021 assassination of the country's last president.
Sports news.
Nepal thrashed Papua New Guinea by 85 runs to storm into the finals of the Triangular T20 International Series in Hong Kong. Kushal Bhurtel's all-round performance secured the easy win for Nepal. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.